the second video in this series. We're going to start with 2 new keywords, and it's going to be false and true, and these 2 keywords generally work well together. They're not really used outside. They're not really used by themselves though. They're usually used with other keywords, but there are things you could do with them. This video won't be so long, so as we get more keywords, we could use keywords with other keywords, and the videos will get longer, and there's going to be more use cases for these keywords. So I'm going to open up the terminal, and if we go to the help interactive help utility and we type in false, you could see that false is an instance of the bool class. Bool has 2 instances which are keywords. They are true and false. False also happens to be the first keyword alphabetically because it's uppercase. True is the third, I think. There's also none, but we're not going to get into that. You'll also notice that I wrote in the title and in a comment that it's false, true instead of false and true, because and is also a reserved keyword in Python, so I don't want to confuse anybody. We could check this but in true also, like this. And you can see that it's also an instance of the bool class. So I'm going to exit out of this, and I'm going to show you some examples of how false and true can be used. So we just saw that false and true are instances of the bool class, and the way the bool class works is it's callable, and anything you put in the parentheses will either be outputted as false or true unless there's an error. So let's start with strings. So as you know, string has quotes. It could be single quotes or double quotes, and the way strings are evaluated as true or false is if there's anything inside the string. So if it's an empty string like this, it returns false. However, if I could write literally anything inside, and suddenly it values to true. That's also true. I think this is also true. Put quotes inside of quotes. Basically, everything that a string has inside of it, it will evaluate to true. Now we'll move on to ints. So every number besides 0, I think, evaluates to true. So this includes 1. I think this includes -1. It's literally every number except for 0, which evaluates to false. By the way, if you do a string of 0, this will evaluate to true. So a string, anything inside, is always true, even if it's something inside that would normally be false. Because it's in a string, it will be true. And for floats, it's the same thing. Anything that isn't 0. So this includes 0.1. It could be so close to 0.0, but if it has anything at all that's not 0, then it will evaluate to true. This evaluates to false. Now we could also try this out with lists. So list works similarly. Nothing inside, false. Anything inside, true. Even if it's 0, false, an empty string, an empty list, and 0.0, this will evaluate to true because there is something inside of this list. I think that's it with the bool function, but there are some other functions. First of all, we have the all function, which evaluates, it could take in any iterable and evaluate if everything inside is true. So if there's nothing inside this iterable, it will be true. Okay, this sounds a little weird at first, but that's just how all works. However, if you have something inside that is false, this will evaluate to false. If you have anything that's false, even if you have something else that's true, it will evaluate to false. If you have, you could have true, 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 a string of something, I don't know, and 0.0, and this will evaluate to false. Yeah, so that's not it. There's also the any function, which checks if anything inside is true. Now, you would think that, like all, any and an empty iterable would be true also. It's actually false. I'm not entirely sure how this works, but this is just how it works. I don't think you'll ever need to use it like this. You might, I don't know. But you could have literally everything that's false. If you have one thing that's true, then it will evaluate all of it to true. But if everything is false, then it will obviously evaluate to false. I think that's it with all the functions. But you could also check if something is equal to something. So let's say I have x is assigned to 1. Okay? So if I say is x, I'm saying x is equal to 1, it says true. If I say x is equal to 0, it will say false. This also works with comparison operators. X is more than 0, true. X is more than or equal to 0, true. If I write 1, this will be true. If I just say it's more than, it will be false, etc. Also works the other way. False, and this is true. This is true. This is true, etc. Now, just having it say true or false usually is not useful whatsoever. You usually want to use these with another keyword. So what you could do is you could assign the true or false to a variable, such as, let's say, y is assigned to x is equal to 1. So what this is saying is that if x is equal to 1, y will be assigned to true, otherwise y will be assigned to false. So right now y is true, but if I were to say, let's say z is assigned to y equals false, okay, z is going to be false. And yeah, that's basically it. This is probably going to be one of the shorter videos in this series, because false and true just aren't really useful on their own, but we will be going through a bunch more keywords and as the series progresses, and we could always tie old keywords together. Like if let's say the next there's a video about the and keyword, then I will use false and true in that. Okay, so yeah, that's basically it. Okay, see you in the next video.